I seriously can't believe you did it at my grandma's funeral.
I don't understand why it's such a
It's
big...
common sense!
So apparently, I was not supposed to play Clash of Clans at his grandma's funeral. How the hell was I supposed to know that?
True, I'm a mother now. It's really changed my perspective.
And do you find it difficult juggling kids in a career?
You can juggle these nuts.
What?
That's right, you're the one I want. I hate.
They say you can't accurately depict black people in video games. Shut up! Look at this shit, bro. Look at this shit, bro. Hair is laid, not a frizzle in sight. Dreads look realistic. This is not questionable. This is not weird. This is an accurate depiction of black people's hair. God of War, thank you for this representation. We love this, bro. And she's a love interest. All the little racist dudes gonna be so mad, bro.
Of course. I think it's adorable when people call him Jungle Skog, but his name is Jungiel Skog. And fun fact, Jungiel means jungle and Skog means forest. Did I just say Skog? Skog means forest. And so yeah, his name is Jungle Forest, which is super cute, and he smiles. Mine is a bit like lumpy because I sleep with him every single night, so he's a bit soggy, I guess. But I love him nonetheless.
If your name ends with L-E-N-E, L-I-N-E, Lin sounds like Lin in Cantonese, which means boobs. Marlene, Marlene, horse boobs. Eileen, Oilin, love boobs. Darlene, Dailin, big boobs. Jolene, Jolene, morning boobs. Charlene, Celine, shoot boobs. Celine, Celine, dead boobs.
So here's part 1 to possibly a series, wheelchair fashion. I put these big safety pins in my sleeves to keep them short so they don't get stuck in my wheels. I don't know why I made that face. I tuck in my big sweaters into my skirt so they also don't get caught in my tires. Spiky boys to go on my push handles so people don't push me. Go away. They also fold down, which is handy. I put patches on the back of my seat, and I modify purses to go under my chair instead of over my shoulder. Let me know if you want a part 2. Yeah.
Hey man, what's up bro?
My mom is so annoying, bro.
Why's that bro? Why's that?
She told me I had to do chores before I could come see the boys. I told that bitch I don't do chores, I only do tasks.
Right bro, right bro.
Anyway, she was acting kind of sus, bro, so I shot her in the face with my AirPod shotty.
All girls are the same, right?
Right, bro? Right, bro?
Virginity.
So let me tell you something. So one time I had this video idea where I texted my girlfriend and I was like, hey, send me a list of your celebrity and fictional crushes, and for a video, I'm gonna say whether or not I think I could beat them in a fight. Now the second that I knew I couldn't make nor post this video was when they texted me back and the first person on the fucking list was Markiplier. He could kill me. He could kill me with like his fucking pinky toe. Like I would die. I would die. I would lose. The ghosts in my house agree. What the fuck? So that was problem 1 with the video. Problem 2 was that I also have a crush on him. You guys agree with that too?
Hey liberals. If the vaccine doesn't alter your brain chemistry, then why did I murder my husband? Think about that one.
Hello, welcome to this video. This video is called Christoph Tries to Guess What This Acronym Means. ISTG. ISTG. That's the acronym. My first guess is I shit tear gas. You know, it's just a random one, throwing that in the wind. Another one maybe is I shake thy guts, you know? Important snake tonight gathering. I shat the goat. I should tree grow. I suck toes gas.
I did not like this metal sculpture, so I cut it up and remelted it in the furnace. I pour molten metal into the Orbeez to make the sculpture. The metals I use, in addition to the pouring temperature, determine the shape of the resulting sculpture. This one is huge, and I am very pleased with the shape and shine. What do you think?
Okay, so I am diagnosing you with depression. What do I do now? I'm gonna write you a prescription. Take when needed. This literally just says chicken.
In the gallows or the ghetto, in the town or the meadow, in the billows, even over the sun, every end of a time is another begun. You understand mechanical hands, or the ruler of everything, ruler of everything, I'm the ruler of everything in the end. Do you like how I dance? I got zirconium pants. Consequential enough to slip you into a trance. Do you like how I walk? Do you like how I talk? Do you like how my face disintegrates if you jump? I have a wonderful wife, I have a powerful job. She criticizes me for being egocentric. You practice your mannerisms into the wall. If this mirror were clear, I'd be standing so tall. I saw you slobber over clovers on the side of the hill. I was observing the birds.
Never mixing up the Green Brothers at work again. I'm a problem solver.
Finish this and tell me the piece of movie trivia you always point out when you watch that movie.
Stu was not an actor. He was a part of the tech crew who they recruited to be in the film. And he didn't know he was going to be the main character until he saw the premiere. Catherine was also not an actor. She was just an old lady who lived in a nursing home who agreed to play Iago's girlfriend. And they put things on her dentures and she loved it. I wish I was her.
I got car sex.
I take my skincare very strictly. In fact, sometimes I even wear a face mask like this 3 times a day. Once before work, once after work, and once even during work. I'll be walking around at work and people will say, "Patrick, are you doing blackface?" I'll be like, "Cecilia, I live in uptown New York. I don't even know what a black person looks like. How the fuck would I know how to do blackface? I kill about 3 people a night.
In the Gucci store, Gucci eliminate you good enough. I said that you lost down. All my bitches feel like I don't.
Y'all remember my pet chicken Chidori, right?
Y'all, I really miss my chicken, but her baby daddy stay antagonizing me.
Last year, I introduced y'all to Chidori, my pet mini chicken, and her abusive relationship with my mini rooster. I also discussed about how I was disgusted that my pet peahen was allowing this abuse to happen in this coop.
Ambrosia, how can you let this happen? Chidori, the time is now. Come on. We gotta.
Then in a breaking development, I shared with y'all that Ambrosia Salad's boyfriend, Sharon Needles, was obviously showing attraction to Chidori the chicken.
Keeping his eyes on Chidori on the ground, and Ambrosia is up in the raft. Like, he can see her, and he did not care.
And a lot of y'all have been wanting me to give you guys updates about Chidori, if she's okay, and if she's still in this abusive relationship with Rasengan. And the last time I talked to you guys about this, Chidori was still with Rasengan, and she actually had 5 more of his kids.
What is this?
And even then, it was quite some time since I told y'all the last of what Chidori has been up to. And it got even worse. Walk with me, because not only did Chidori have 5 more kids in her abusive relationship with Rasengan, Chidori, my love of my life right here, actually hatched Ambrosia's 3 children. Being incapable as a mother herself, Chidori went ahead and laid on all 7, no, there was even more. She had 12 eggs. There's her little nasty boyfriend. But my chicken, my miniature chicken at that, sat on a total of 12 large peacock eggs and was able to at least hatch 4 of them, but only 3 survived. But she did that, and Ambrosia could never. I'll be giving you guys more updates as I introduce Ambrosia Salad's biological children into her coop and see what she has to say.
Wood strikes wood, and metal strikes metal. That is a great rule to remember, so long as you remember that it's got about as many exceptions to it as the English language does to any of its rules of language. Because when you're talking about a wood-handled chisel and a mallet, that's obvious. When you're talking about a splitting wedge and a hammer, that's obvious. About this tool. This is a tool called a froe, and it's used for splitting wood, not firewood. It's a process called riving, which is very controlled precision splitting wood. So what do I do with this? I don't want the top of this to get damaged and flare out like the top of the splitting wedge. If I hit this with a hammer, I'm going to damage it. If I hit it with a mallet, I'm going to break my mallet. What do? I use this tool, another impact device called a maul. Maul is just an impact device. It is a brute force impact. Look closely, see how that's all gnarled and mangled looking? That's from striking the top of this froe. This takes all the damage, leaving this in good shape. And when this breaks, and eventually it will, pick up a piece of firewood and carve a handle on it, and I have a new maul, and this becomes firewood. This is a lot easier and a lot cheaper to replace than this.
Something weird I realized linguistically is that the difference between the words boy and girl and the words man and woman is not just the implication of age, but also the implication of species. Because if, like, for example, I was talking about my cat, it'd be totally normal for me to say, oh yeah, my cat's a girl. But it would sound super weird if I was like, yeah, my cat's a woman.
2 ducks eating peas, 2 ducks eating peas. My muscles involuntarily squeeze.
Young people often don't know how to take a shower. This makes sense when I thought about it, because you're bathed as a baby, and then you get older and you're kind of bathing yourself with supervision, but people are telling you what to do. Then you get old enough where you're bathing without supervision, and then you probably transitioned into a shower right from that stage with no supervision. So nobody's ever told you how to take a shower. So there's all these little shower tips that nobody's told anybody, and so, well, I'm telling you, so pay attention. 1, you don't have a towel. You forgot your towel. Somebody took your towel, whatever it is. A t-shirt. A t-shirt works fine as a towel. You probably wore a dirty t-shirt in, and you've got a clean t-shirt you're going to wear. Use the dirty t-shirt. No, it's not so stinky that stink will transfer back onto you. It doesn't work that way. You'll be fine. 2, after you're done your shower, you're dripping wet. Don't just grab the towel and start absorbing all that water. Just use your hands and do a quick wipe down. You'll get like 70% of the water off your body and your hair. Do kind of like that, and you'll get your towel less wet, which means you can use your towel more often. It won't promote mildew as much. There's all sorts of good things. Or if you're using a t-shirt, it'll be better too. 3, when you are washing your hair, the water, like imagine the shower is coming down. You want it, the top, the crest, the top part of the water should be landing against your skull, like right there where the 2 points are kind of in the back, and then the water will flow down perfectly down the back over here, and it won't get in your face. And then when you lather up, you can just tilt your head back to get your hair wet, add water, take water away, rinse it all off, and it won't get in your face, and you won't go blind from soap. 4, if you have a lot of facial hair, or if you have parts of your body with a lot of body hair, it is possible that hair will require a different treatment than the hair on your head. This isn't embarrassing. Pay attention to it, because you may need specific shampoos for down under or facial hair or anything like that. And they make things like that, so pay attention. 5, if you're getting kind of little scabs on your scalp and you might be embarrassed by it, like what the heck is that? They don't bleed or anything, they just feel like scabs. When you peel them off, they just come off, and they're just there. That's dandruff. Okay, they always talk about the flakes with dandruff. They don't talk about that symptom in the commercials, because I guess it's too gross. But that's dandruff. It just means you have dandruff. And honestly, 90% of people can be cured of dandruff using a basic dandruff shampoo. You don't have to buy the expensive stuff. Just try Head and Shoulders, or the generic brand of Head and Shoulders, and it'll probably fix it for you. Do I have anything else? No, I think that, oh yeah, the soap, get the soap, give it a quick rinse beforehand, because, the person before you, you don't know what they were washing with that soap. So just, 2 seconds of rinsing, but don't put it right on your body.
If you're wondering what it's like for me being a mechanical engineering major, this picture kind of sums it up. Except instead of a Thanksgiving table, it's like a workshop full of 3D printers and band saws and men, and then there's me.
I feel like I could fill a 2-hour video essay just exploring the weird relationship that Family Guy has with gender. Not even as a criticism or a takedown, because obviously the show's misogynistic. I don't think anyone needs to be told that. But the very specific way that the show is misogynistic is interesting. I think it's a really interesting case study in how that kind of humor works and how much it relies on reaching its perceived intended audience. Especially given that it's a show whose humor is largely structured around cutaways that are intended to be relatable. They don't do this as much anymore, but a lot of the early cutaways were just Peter saying he hates a female celebrity for some unspecified reason and then cutting to her being insufferable in some vague way. It's also a show that really viscerally hates fat women, despite 2 of the main characters being fat men whose weight is rarely the butt of the joke. It's just interesting how it manifests.
So Francie knows that oftentimes before I put her down, I'll ask her for a kiss. So now Francie has taught me that if she wants to be put back, she'll just keep kissing me, and then looking to where she wants to be put, and kissing me, and looking to where she wants to be put, to tell me that she wants to be put away.
Just me and my twin in them. Yeah, that's my twin in them. Oh, best friend, we killing them. No friends, get rid of them. Oh, these no, yeah.
There are not words in the English language to describe how happy that account makes me. There are not words in the English language. This lady, first way ticket to heaven. First, she's in first place. I don't care. I hope every time she drives, the light is green. I hope every time she goes to a drive-thru, there's no one there. And I hope even though there's no one there, the person in front of her paid. Yeah. I know, because I can already tell, here y'all go. Stop praising people for doing the bare minimum, but I'm not. Listen, bring your ear holes right here, right? Sorry, y'all, I had to move because people showed up and I'm allergic. She has this little girl do affirmations while she's doing her hair. Like, the way she's instilled this, like, love of her hair and of her blackness is something so pleasing to my career. Something so pleasing to me. Like, not that this little girl will, like, never face any insecurities or whatever, but she has so much of a better chance of recognizing her own beauty because her mom is doing this. And that is something, that is so pleasing to me.
So the devil is a lie. Them other girls can't compete with mine. You do it so good, you fuck my mind. You pull it out, then you open wide. You make me want to tap out every time. Them pretty lips.
White people don't know shit about black hair. And I love that. Because, you know what I'm saying? Y'all see my hair. It looks fucked up. Okay, we know. But if I go out in public, white people be like, oh my God, girly. I love that style on you. It looks great. You're rocking that. How'd you get it like that? And as funny as that is, they being 100% genuine because they don't know what the fuck new growth is. They don't know you're not supposed to be able to see my braid through these fucking locks. They just think my hair looks cool. And y'all don't hesitate to tell me that, Nita, you need to change your fucking hair. I fucking know that. I'm not Cardi B. I'm not Nicki Minaj. I don't have a celebrity hairstylist, okay? I can't get my hair done every fucking day. Let me live a little bit. But you know what I'm saying? I feel really ugly when my hair is not done. And it means a lot when white girls who don't know shit about black people hair compliment my hair because they mean that shit. And that means a lot.
Damn, look, they got girl skateboards.
Oh my God.
You can skate now.
They got gay skateboards.
Oh my God.
You can skate.
We're fucking set.
Is that a gram? New card. What do you think?
Whoa, very nice. Look at that.
Picked them up from the printers yesterday.
Good coloring.
That's bone. And the lettering is something called Cillian Braille.
It's very cool, Bateman, but that's nothing. Look at this. That is really nice. Eggshell with Romalian type. What do you think? Nice. Jesus. That is really super. How'd a nitwit like you get so tasteful?
I can't believe that Bryce prefers Van Patten's card to mine.
But wait, you ain't seen nothing. Raised lettering, pale nimbus, white.
Impressive. Very nice. Let's see Paul Allen's card. Look at that subtle off-white coloring. The tasteful thickness of it. Oh my God. It even has a watermark.
Standing outside of the Jewish store with the Palestinian Jew.
The most stereotypically Jewish-looking person ever.
An Aryan Jew.
And Nikhil. Hey, yo, look at this drippy ass hats.
Nikhil, those are kippas.
One of my favorite things that Junji Ito has ever released has been his Cat Diary, a slice-of-life memoir following him moving in with his fiancée and her 2 cats. And for me personally, judging by the role that cats play when they typically turn up at his pieces, I was under the impression that he wasn't the biggest fan. And at the beginning of the book, he's most definitely not, very fixed on the idea that his wife's cats have cursed faces. For context, real-life photos of one of the cats. And this is how he draws it! just constantly giving him like this little old man face, and it's so funny. This is also the only example I've ever seen of somebody taking a Norwegian forest cat, one of the cutest, fluffiest cat breeds in existence, and turning it into a tiny vampire. Look at the tiny teeth. The most hilarious, magical part of this whole book is that it takes the most innocent, mundane human-cat interactions and makes them malicious. This is his interpretation of his fiancée teaching him to play with the cat wand. It's an incredibly sweet, lighthearted piece. Highly recommend if you're in search of some soft pre-spooky season reading.
You're my world, and I can be anything you need. And if for some reason you don't feel like talking,
When I was in film school, one thing they really emphasized was never underestimating the intelligence of your audience. They were like, you don't need to spell things out for your audience and explain it to them. They'll get it. They're not dumb. The audience is smart and they can read between the lines. They're not going to take everything literally. But I know that they're wrong now, because since being on this app, I've realized some of you are quite frankly fools.
Bruno Mars. I love Bruno Mars. 24 karat magic in the...
People constantly doubt my epic athletic expertise. Now I get it. I may not look like the average athlete, but I am an absolute fucking unit on the basketball court. That was the move that made LeBron cry.
Very, very good.
A girl in a straw hat with her arms out in a cornfield. That is a scarecrow.
Hi there, I would once again like to discuss the language that we use in fandom and in fanfics because it's infinitely fascinating to me. So somebody in my comment section did make a comment about how different fandoms have different like dialects pretty much for how they talk about things, and that blew my mind because like subconsciously I was aware of it, but I just never had considered it as like a different dialect. I just knew that they talked about things differently because like how they talk about stuff on K-pop stan Twitter. I mean, it's a fandom, obviously. I have no idea what they're doing over there though. It absolutely... Hello? It absolutely baffles me. And then somebody else in my comment section had talked about typically you can tell when and where somebody got their start in fandom by the language that they use to describe the things happening in fandom. And that is like 100% true. I mean, like, when I got my start in fandom, realistically, like, hard and heavy, it was 2012, and, like, OTP and everything was just all over the place. Do people even use the phrase OTP anymore? Because I haven't seen it in years. What's the word for it?
My cat got a autism sensory toy.
That don't kill me, can only make me stronger. I need you to hurry up now.
cause I can't wait much longer.